Right, today we're going to do this rainy day piece. Yeah, we're going to do that. So, just stick that somewhere where I can see it. Right. So, vanishing point. Yeah. You can draw with a ruler, but I do it, but I do advise against it at all costs, really. So, head heights are going to be roughly the same at the distance to this eye, because this is the eye level, unless it's going uphill. So, even at here, they're going to be this high. So the same goes over here. If there was a guy stood over here, these are just little markers that I sometimes do to help me navigate and place the big, to help me to divide the big shapes. So we've got all this sprawling left here, but the end of this pathway doesn't vanish up to the horizon line. It sort of comes here, so sort of this wide, maybe even a bit lower. So if I come off like that, and it's the same here, the bush is above the horizon line here. So if I come off here, I know that the bushes need to be that high. Do you get what I mean? So I've dealt with the bush, and you can move around and angle yourself to get a better position of all this. So I know there's a head there, say there's a head here, a bigger guy. I know that this wall is sort of it is just above his hip, say. Something like that. So, and he stood here. So say he stood near the wall here. That's where the wall is then. So I'm using these figures that I placed in just to help me judge this. And I know that this goes up a certain height. For the little stone caps that are on top. And his head's sort of above them. So that's where his head, you see what I'm saying? So this will just help give an illusion of depth just with figures' heads as well and things. So there's another capstone in front of it. And it's the same with this, I'll just follow that line. I know that this capstone wants to be a bit bigger. Put another figure there just to help me hide what I want to do. Help hide the wall. Saves me painting it. So let's come over here now. So again, I've got this hut here. Thing. So if I just follow an imaginary line off that, I know that this wants to start above it now. This other pavilion building bit. Again, might be penciling in a little bit hard, but I'm just concentrating on making sure the shapes are sort of roughly in. I'm not committing to anything yet. And then we've got the building that comes off the side here, the point, which is so high. It's not too high though. That's not very straight, is it? But there we go. I'm overdrawing again now. Yeah, I'm putting stuff in that's just irrelevant at the minute, you know, I'm falling for it for the track myself. So I just need these shapes, and am I happy with them? Does this need to be a bit bigger? I think it does, yeah. So we'll make this bigger. And just follow that line, and then we know this needs to be such and such bigger. Right, and then we've got that bush line sort of came in, it's a bit high maybe, so let's just trim it off a bit. Yeah. And there's a big sign here, whatever it was. Again, this is not exactly how it was. I'm you know, I'm into looking things look, nothing's like lining up issues. That's what I'm on about, basically. So there's like a cycle path thing here. Here actually just goes above. There we go. Something like that. This background's just nothing, you know. If you draw this in pencil line, it's going to show up hard in pencil line in your painting. So just sort of, you know, there's a bigger little building shape here, bigger little building. We're just going to paint that loose as hell, really. So let's get there. Cyclist in. That was the main draw of the painting. And again, should try and get a bit of light. Maybe we should just move this a bit. Not forget that. We'll just create a bit of light for him to appear in. You know, this is what I'm thinking about as I'm drawing, you know, like where's the play of light going and stuff, you know. We're gonna have sort of features of that thing. So then there's an iconic piece of the area, little man in the moon thing. But you're overdrawing at this point, and you just want to be getting the basic shapes in. So after this sort of, let's just take this up a bit. Just helps deal with this bit of background that's here. There's parked cars and stuff, but you know, we'll deal with that by putting absolutely nothing there and just fill it in with carefully placed people. Now you can spend ages here deciding, you know, where to put people. You know, there's a lot of time and thought goes into all of that. So and then we've got, you know, that same principle again. There's right, we'll put one here, look, so we know it wants to be roughly this high. Again, he's got a lining up issue there now though. So I wish I didn't do that, but maybe we should have put the cyclist somewhere else, sort of here. But if I follow this line from, you know, just roughly, I know the next one wants to be here. You know, you can draw all this in super accurately, but if you do, it's just dead stiff and it's got sort of no character to it, you know. If you just do it with your own lines, it's much better. We can have the usual. You know, step back at your painting, line yourself up at it, and you'll get these lines. And these have got little, I mean, there is lamps that sort of go here. And you can put them in, it just adds a little bit more depth, I suppose. But again, you know, these buildings and stuff, the minute you start drawing it all in, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. Like here, look, we'll have there's a little hexagon. And another, you know, there's the cars going into the distance. We'll just do some random shapes. There's another guy on his bike. Yeah. That bush breaks up round about there. There's some trees and stuff here that will help fill in these areas. So there we go. Right, I've done a little work on the drawing. There's a flagpole that we're going to lift out whilst it's wet. I've touched the figures up a bit. I think I put another dog in here. I put another post in here as well because it's, again, look, I've tried to help subdivide things. So they're not, you know, lining up issues. And I thought, while we're at it, we'll have a go at doing some puddles. I've never actually ever tried them, so, you know, that's how you find stuff out. You'll have a go, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I thought about this car as well. If I just make that a little bit bigger. Just that one car and this little shape here. Maybe another little shape off the side there is enough to just read cars all the way down there. It's enough, you know, it's a way of dealing with it. So, palette. Palette and brushes. So, here's the main few that I use. I do use some flats, but not often. The thing is they've got to have a point on them. If they haven't got a point for doing fine work, you'll never be able to do fine work. So, and again, I'll just wet that. I use that for whatever, you know, drawing telegraph wires, anything, you know. So, first thing we're going to paint this feeling of light. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn the painting on its side. So I'll start with the light and start getting darker here. Then when I'm happy with it, I'll turn it back this way. And we can even try and drop some clouds in. But the key is getting it wet consistently, so it's drying consistently. You can't spend minutes doing this and then spend minutes doing this, because this is already entered a different stage of drying time. I'm not saying race through it as fast as you can, but you've got to get on with it and working with that kind of mindset. So when we want to do some wet into wet cloud work, it's consistently drying enough. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we start doing it. I mean, you know, with regards to clouds, whilst this is all wet, we can do all sorts to it and lift out, lift off. I suggest using a natural sponge. You know, it's, I mean, the different things make different effects, but this creates like the smoothest effect. So, yeah, you know, the key is working in a consistent manner. And I'll talk through drying times as we go through it. So I rarely ever clean my palette. What's the point? You may as well, you know, use this paint. If I've got an incredibly dirty palette, I'll do a really big grey scene, you know, that I'm going to mix a lot of greys up with. And this is what I'm talking about with regards to grey. If you mix just black up and another colour, it's going to be, I mean, it's okay doing monochrome paintings and stuff. And that's fine, you know, tonal studies, they're fantastic. I do them all the time. But we're not doing that here. We're trying to put colour in and, you know, look at the colours that's in here. It's yellow to red to blue. There's probably green in it. There's all sorts. You know, I'm mixing up constantly different colours based on what I feel off temperature and what I feel it wants. I'm not actually that knowledgeable about the colour wheel or anything like that, although people seem to think I am. I've studied a little bit, obviously, and I do know certain colours that mix, but I'm not, you know, I don't. I just practice and paint and get a feel for it. So we'll see that now. So I'll turn the painting on its side, and I want a feeling of white here because I'm going to get a feeling of white there anyway, so we'll just leave that bit of white there. And now you know, I mean, it looks, and then I'm just mixing this together now, and it's always best to go on the warmer side because it's too cool otherwise. So I'm just going to soak this damn thing, get it proper soaked, and get bluer now as we get back to the. Oh, a bit too much red. So I'll just jump to this pan. Bit of purple. Let's get some more blue in there. So I've got highlights here now, down here at the bottom. So I'm not going to get near there, and I'm getting near the getting near the pier here. So we'll just start to get a bit careful, you know. So I've got a nice fall of colour now. So I'll put it back. Let's just check it's all lined up properly. Sorry about the bit of shine there, but so you know, I'm not going into the water pot anymore. I've just got this here, and there's the pier to deal with now. I could have left some little white dots, and it could have been seagulls. I didn't think about that. Should have done, but yeah. So let's sort this pier out. Again, this is drying now consistently over a time. As you can see, it's still shining and wet here. This starts to disappear a little. I mean, we can start working into it shortly. I'll just leave a broken edge there, and then we can get into the green for the and you know, it's super easy to get carried away by just doing loads of them. Done it myself. just yeah, less is always more, trust me. So this pier is not actually bright white because the light's kind of, you know, it's coming towards us. So I'm gonna just dry brush a little bit, well, get some colour in. I'm just gonna bleed that a little bit in. Just catching a little highlight or something. Right, here I've got a, see here, look, I'm just gonna, it's drying off, look, and I've lost that bead, and it's not gonna wait for me, so just put some more paint back. So here we've got the yellow of this wall, and this is where it gets interesting because it's so easy to wear on the side of caution here, and actually you've really got to just go for it and get some strength of colour in. So we'll just let that connect again. So we've got these highlighty bits that are off the top of here, this guy's head. through the top of that car, but whatever. Just leave some broken little bits for highlights. So big thing, what a lot of people do is leave all the figures white, and basically these figures are going to be much stronger than what I'm painting here. This is going to dry way lighter, you know. So you know, I'm keeping this bead here, and this is allowing me to do what I'm doing. I can sit and wait because I've got this, and I know I can connect into it. Don't worry about any little blooming that's going to happen in here or anything like that, because it's going to get covered up by stronger pigment. So I know I'm into the path there, so I'm stopping. You know, I've got that rough sort of line where I'm going. So now I've got this strength of pigment here. Now this is stronger than that. It don't look it, but it is. So I'm just going to beef it up with some bit of titanium white, and then I'm going to start killing it off a bit. I may have overdone it, but this is just how I deal with this sort of stuff, and then it gives it beef, some substance, and makes it stronger than what that is. That's my principle behind it. I don't know if that's acceptable or the right thing to do, but that's what I do. So that's going to wait for me now. And now we're going to launch into this green. So I'm cobalt green, burnt sienna here. But I find siennas and umbers, ochres, whatever, I've got raw sienna here. They just make a much more natural colour rather than using strictly cobalt, especially in this situation, you know. It's all right if you want acid radioactive green, then fair enough, obviously, but these make a much more natural green. And we'll just leave that little slit of white there, because that can act like a bit of light that's catching whatever. So I've got this bead here. I need to think, is that strong enough for what I want at the top of this bush here. So I'm going to come darker with it, you see, on the next wash. Again, I can just capture the light of him. Well, that's it, because I'll just paint through him. Because he's going to be much stronger than what this is going to be. Maybe capture a little bit there. Yeah, it's difficult because I can't. I'm trying not to lean in because of the. I know I'm going to stick my head in front of the camera, so I'll just let that run off. So now we just keep that active. So when we come to these puddles, I've done them in a manner, because we've got gravity coming down, that we've got a curve. We're not going to curve inwards. We're always going to curve that way, because we can let the pigment run either side of it. So at the top, we need this feeling of light here. So this needs to be, you know, sort of at its brightest. We need to conquer a feeling of light on the path. So we can start by just putting this in, and then we'll just go into clear water, basically, clean water. Again, I'm going to be careful how I touch into this, because if I touch into this, it'll bleed green into it. So I'm just going to leave a little. Right, now we'll get maybe some more into this, because we've got this grey now coming here. We've got this puddle here as well, so I'll think about that. Again, I'm just using the 3 primers. You see that pigment, how that's hanging on here? This is why I say, because if you'll get this weird, horrible staining edge, and it just looks awful. So just be mindful of this, look, as it's coming down. If its pigment starts hanging and granulating on the top of it, then let's try a bit of burnt sienna in with it. And, you know, we'll just get a bit stronger. Now, you can sort of get an idea from what I'm mixing up in here. You got to, let's get a bit stronger in here just to mirror what's up here. These people are going to hide that a bit. It'll help ping that puddle even more. I've actually been waffling on too much and forgot to lift out the post. I think it might be too wet now, but we'll have a go. Oh, we've gone too wide. Well, just caught it in time. There we go. And then I'll do the same on that. So, you know, you got to work consistently, like I say, while it's wet for this reason. So, am I happy with the way the light is? If it looks right when it's wet, it'll dry wrong, trust me. So, let's get a bit here. So, again, with this little flat brush, I can put some marks in. There we go. to wait for this to. This is what I mean about timings. You know, if you can see the sheen and you try and do this, it's never going to happen. You see how you can see in the video how the time's gone on, how the light's gone off, and that, and I would just caught it in time, just before it dries and goes beyond the point of no return. That's when it's at its most volatile stage. But you've got to practice this and just have a go at it. It's the only way. So, whilst this is still wet, I can still, right, I can take more out of this. Yeah, it's still got its sheen on. I just need to wait a little bit. If you can see this or not. There you go. See the sheen? It's just starting to go. Right here, you can see it's gone, and that I can drag out of there. I'll just do one just to give you an idea of what happens. So it's much brighter. Look, if I'd have done it too early, it'll blend. So. And I mean, with clouds, I've experimented with lifting off with various, instead of lifting off with just like coloured water, rinse your brush and, so it's got a taint of colour on it, like pink or yellow or whatever, and lift off into it and then darken up. But I find the more that you spend complicating and playing with that, especially when laying in, the more you just get in a mess when trying to do a serious painting. So just keep it as simple as possible, and try and connect the washes, so you've got this consistency in the paper as you're working around, and this is one approach I've took to do this, and then I'll cut in, you see, with darker washes that'll define I'm painting all the light, basically. That's what I'm doing, and I've dealt with the sky and all the light in the path. See, this has come a bit awful, didn't work out too well, but we'll make the line fatter. It needs to be fatter because it's closer than this one, so it needs to be bigger. But there you are. There's the first wash. We'll see how the next stage goes. Right, we'll start the next layer. So basically, what we've done is painted the dark. The hair there won't have to become a seagull. So it's gone a little bit different from the original paintings. We've got a feeling of the sun coming from behind from the point tower thing there. So we're going to make a play on that and use yellow and red and blue to get that feeling of the sun maybe bursting through there. We'll give it a whirl and see what happens. So same stuff, I haven't changed it. By the way, this is cobalt green, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, permanent, burnt sienna, raw sienna, cadmium yellow, cadmium orange, cadmium red. This is titanium white, and that's Payne's grey. I do skip in other blacks, you know, neutral tint, ivory black, whatever. I do use ochres, umbers. I just ain't got them in this palette. Right, so this distance needs to be bluer, so it's further back. So we'll just do, we basically only just want to see the most distant building, really. So we'll just make a little mark and think, right, how dark's that? And look at, you know, the mix that we've got. It's a milky sort of mix. Could even thin it out. So that's that. Now, we need to increase the strength of this mix as we're coming forward and go from bluer colours to warmer colours. Try not to think, you know, this, obviously things are certain colours, but when you're painting tonally and coming forward in strength of tone, thinking the colour as well and getting warmer. So this building's a bit, I can just weaken that off a little bit. See what I'm saying? Look, I'm already getting a feeling of nothingness. Put some clear water in at the top. I'm using cerulean blue, there's cad red, there's burnt sienna. Just like cerulean blue and burnt sienna will granulate like crazy, so you'll get this, if you want that, appealing effect. Again, you know, you've got, it's the same thing when we come in with the first wash. The temptation now is just to start carving everything out, painting everything out. You know, you really don't have to, because you're coming over with strength. You know, what you paint, we're painting this and the light and the reflections on here. We're not painting all this stuff in the background, and it's just bloody absolutely irrelevant. So don't do it. You know, just like I say, paint a few marks that resemble what's there, and that's it. And I'm not going back in the pot, I'm just adding to stuff now that I've got, you know, I've got in here. So I'm gonna make another mark, because I know we're getting close now to this pier, and this also is stronger than the pier, so I have to now start thinking of strength of tone and how far forward we've come. See, I might just weaken that off a little bit more, so I can get more. Right, and we'll get some shadowy colour on the pier. It needs to be stronger. There we go. So this strength of pigment now I've got here, I need to be using on this tower. So, but we want yellow. So this is all that creamy stuff that I made before when I put it in here. So we'll just there we go. We've got that sort of milky consistency. So this bit wants to be yellow and this bit's like red, and then we'll get blue at the top. So I normally just smash the big shapes in and everything, but for the sake of this, and I'm going to try something. So that's back level. There we go. So now I'm going to get we'll just use this. I have to stand up here because if I go in, my head's I'm gonna get rid of all that because I didn't like it anyway. So right, now this ain't going to be pure white, so I've got to dirty it up. Let's blue it up a bit actually, and we'll just join that in. Right, let's get back into this. Oh, put my hands on the paper. Yeah, we'll just paint through all that because it's going to get covered up anyway. There's a little highlight. Right, I'm not racing off. I'm sat looking at this now and thinking, am I happy with it? Is that too red? Kill it off a bit. Right, now, well, that's, I don't know if you can see it, but see the sheen, look at the top, it's gone, so I can work into it a little bit with some of this pigment. Put them details on it. We can put some more details on this again. As it's dried more, put some more dry brush strokes on just to give it. So there we go, and then here in the middle we've got this green here. And I'll just straight into a blue, and it helps ground it, you know. So. And just a little weaker. Same sort of thing. Just let them bleed in. And again, tied into them buildings. So, you know, we've dealt with like the background. Now we're going to deal with the stage, basically. You know, there's still time to make like this. You know, I can still scrub that out. Look, there's still time. So, as this is nearly dried, I can connect into the bush. Actually, sorry, no, the next thing is killing this off. And getting this distant, so one, it helps frame, you know, like the wet sand, basically. So start by carving these out. And because these are darker here, I can just go straight through that bit. We'll probably go over this a few times. as we get the tone right. I'll just tidy this up a bit. So yeah, I think there's another one here. We'll just try and carefully think like where the there we go. Probably take that back up as well, like I say, because it needs to be stronger. Got a bit skew with, never mind. There we go. Like I say, I'm going to put some more shadow on there and stuff. And then we've got this bit here, which is so basically, well, this line comes all the way down as well as a little. And just think of this line at the bottom. And sort of making the same sort of distance that we put in. There we go, some wall detail. Right, this screen's nearly ready now, so I can take this green look and just straight away we've got a feeling of light coming off the top. There, I'll just go straight through. In fact, no, we won't, because we'll get a feeling of light coming through the little hot shelter thing. Can't remember what you call them. Fucking hell. Same with that one. We'll get a little bit. Right. So yeah, that'll help curve that out. And then that. And then I'm just going to touch water and just thin it out a little bit. There we go. We've got the top of this bush going on now. Now this needs to be a lot darker. Some red, green, blue in here. Let's just try something, see what happens. I like the feeling of it, the warmth. I mean, I could have left little highlights in here for stuff where the posts were. Paid more mind to that, but screw it, they're not in. That one is. So just have a look and think, am I happy with it? I've got this guy breaking it up, you know, so I've only got to worry about this bit. So I can streak clear water into this. This again, we're talking drying times again here. As that sheen starts to go off, it's a great time to play with water. I mean, you know, this has just gone almost on this building. We'll see the effects that happen to it in a minute over time. So, yeah, when this is gone like that, I'll streak some water and see what happens. Let's get this a bit bluer. I think it needs to be bluer. It's nice to get a bit of, I kind of like that red that's going on in there because it sort of mirrors everything else that's going on. So, again, you know, I'm not going back to the water pot, I'm just adding paint at the minute because this is a similar tone, but now I'll thin it off as we're getting further away. Just bleed a bit of water back in. And get this stronger blue in, and we'll put some punchy dark in here. So yeah, I'm looking at the strength of this already, and I know it needs to be stronger. Let's just try this. A bit better. So yeah, I can, again, you've got to just judge this and kind of know. So, strength of tone. And then there's this building that was much stronger. Let's get all the moisture out of the brush. Very important when you're doing stuff like that is you get all the moisture. Oh, when you get all the moisture out of the brush. There we go. Just get that feeling of that house. That'll do. I'm doing too much. So these roofs, again, I want to probably be, well, start to think I want to be a bit weaker here. I mean, we can. Yeah, that's not bother. Too much paint on the brush. Yeah, so I'm looking at this tonally versus this. Is it too strong? Is it strong enough? Oh, touch the paper. No, meant to be there. Just touch some of that red through. next one. Alright, under here is not grey enough. You know, this white that's underneath, it's too white, so we need to kill it off, and then we'll come back with some more. Just like that melt. We'll put some details into this and the darks that go in here and stuff. So right, the next stage is getting the base reflections in that the people are going to, like especially the cyclists and stuff, that they're going to reflect into. So where's my big brush? So I'm going to try and keep this puddle and a few little, I think I've gone too far there, and then and vanishing point, you know, I've gone over that puddle now. I'll have to be careful of that when we come down. So, colour for this. Just get loads of gunk and colour this reddy purpley colour off. Might even throw a bit of green in. That turquoise. I mean, you know, there you go. What do you call that? So, wrap that line up because it was too much. So like this is going to reflect here. I'm thinking where the point of this is, you know. Same with this, look, I know this comes down here now, so. Same with this. I'm going to try and get that feeling of a gap of light here. Just wetting the bottom so I'm getting rid of it. Again, I knew it was a mistake taking them puddles on, but I thought I'd have a go at something for you. So this is already dried off, so let's just... Right, this will just brown off a little bit and come back into here. This is... Oh God, I'll just hide that. Again, and just spray it off the bottom. And then this is just going to let it do its thing. And, you know, you can... get some dry brush strokes, whatever. Point towards the where we put the vanishing point, you know. Right, we've kind of lost that feeling of light, so I need to lift this bit out. Right, so now we need to let this dry because I quite like that. There you go. If you don't try stuff, you just... we need to let this dry because I need to put my hand on the paper just to feel stuff. I suppose we can... see if we can paint this puddle. I don't know if I'm best leaving it now or not. We'll see. Yeah, so I'm going to leave this now and then I'll paint the figures in. I mean, you know, you can even start lifting off tyres and things and all sorts. Lifting off paint in here. Again, you know, you can do this because it's still wet. You know, so just play around, you know. It's fun to paint. Right, I'll be back when this is dried. Right, there we go. It's started drying out a bit now around here, so I can well, there we go. Stanley knife, that'll do. Usually use my fingernail, but I want to be accurate, so I can lift off a little bit. scratch out. This is just nice for scratching out now. Yeah, nothing much, but it's just to help us. It'll help give us a little bit of detail. Right, so I need to put the black in for this. This thing. That's not strong enough. And these lines. There we go. Could just make that a little darker. Push a feeling of light on the side of that. Right. I never like doing these. They're never fun. I might try and scrape out this post. So I'm just going to follow it down. There we go. I'll try and scrape that one out as well. So you get one go at it, you know, and that's it. So again, the strength of tone. These all want to be getting weaker as they get into the distance. So we'll start with the weakest one. And again, you know, you need an incredibly fine point for this. There you go, barely see it. It's too strong. There we go, and that's it, you know. Again, these have got to be so thick. So, you know, they need to be pretty damn thin to begin with. There we go. Right, now we'll start introducing a little bit more strength. I can afford to get a little bit thicker. But not too thick. Now I can afford to go very big, but I'm going to go round the other side of the painting. and this way because it's easier for me. There we go. While I'm here, I'll do that. See why you need an incredibly fine point now. So this puppy needs to be a bit stronger. Maybe not that strong though. It's a bit off centre, isn't it? There we go. We'll get a bit stronger down there. Alright, now we'll get them reflections. We'll dry brush stroke these though. Over these, so that's the top of a wall. There we go. Not on target, am I? There we go, that'll do. There we go. And then this bit of dark that was on this thing. So don't know if it'll work or not, but we'll see how it goes. Right, let's deal with them. Maybe this needs to be stronger. Yeah, and that one needs to probably be a little bit stronger as well. Careful, because my hand's getting mucky. There we go, that's better. I don't know if that's dead on line or not, but that'll do. So these out probably. Just help define that a bit. Right, now the people over here. Right, this guy. Don't matter about any highlights because we can just chuck them on afterwards. That's why I say paint through things, because you're better off getting your wash down well than worrying about cutting round everything too much. When you're painting sort of like this, you can't possibly do all these lovely washes and intricately paint around everything whilst maintaining that drying consistency, that drying time. Again, you know, when you're painting on location, you just ain't got time for any of that. You're not sat, you know, and that's why everyone says paint, go out and paint on location, because my boy does it help. So he was on a bike, wasn't he? So need to get him at least bike shaped. There we go. Some more figures there, aren't there? Again, you know, you can come over this again and do all sorts with it, you know. Let's give that one a bit of a pink. And that's just hiding that post there that I had, the white post. Just sort of deals with that nicely. There's this other guy. Again, you know, this is why I strategically place stuff. It saves the worry of having to paint everything in detail in whatever's behind you, you know. So there's this guy here. Let's give him a white hat. And, well, you know, you got to have that bit of red, haven't you? Right, guy on the bike. Again, let's give him a white hat as well. Again, less is more. You can just totally overcook that and a bit stronger at the top, weaker at the bottom even. Right, it's bled like crazy, so we'll just knock his leg up a little bit. Let's sort that out. Right, this guy. I wanted the light blue. The light blue hat today. The, I don't know, bluey grey hood. Right, we'll have to make him bigger now. I've just made his legs too big. Right, dog. That'll do. Right, and then we've just got these people's reflections, so these need to be a bit. There we go. Right, this looks a bit dark, so. We can now do some doctoring. And again, you know, how do you do this sort of stuff? You just have to play. Last thing, the flag. Yeah, well, the puddles didn't work out very well, but This is it. If you don't have a go, you don't know.